Reuters witnesses saw Bolsonaro supporters, many in their trademark yellow national soccer jerseys or draped in Brazilian flags, confronting security forces at police headquarters. Police fired stun grenades and tear gas to disperse the crowd. Nearby buses and cars were set on fire. Federal police said disturbances near the headquarters were being handled with support from Capitol security forces. The violence unfolded after a Bolsonaro supporter was detained for allegedly organizing violent, anti-democratic acts, according to the judge who ordered his arrest. Earlier on Monday, the Federal Electoral Court certified the October 30th election victory of Bolsonaro's leftist rival, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, as president. After months of baseless suggestions that Brazil's voting system is vulnerable to fraud, Bolsonaro has neither conceded defeat to Lula nor has he formally blocked the handover of power. But some of the president's most diehard supporters have blocked highways in protest and camped out in front of army barracks, calling for a military coup to bar Lula from office. Hundreds of Bolsonaro supporters gathered outside the presidential residence on Monday afternoon with banners calling for military intervention. The president joined them for a public prayer but did not address the crowd. "There's not going to be an inauguration," said José Trindade, 58, one of the Bolsonaro supporters in the crowd. "Bolsonaro was re-elected, but they stole it. So only the army can put things in order." The conspiracy theories and subsequent violence have rekindled memories of the January 2021 invasion of the U.S. Capitol by supporters of former U.S. President Donald Trump. It also raises security concerns about January 1st, when Lula takes office in a public ceremony in Brasília. Senator Randolph Rodrigues, a key Lula aide, said there were concerns about the physical safety of Lula and Vice President-elect Geraldo Alckmin, as protesters had surrounded the hotel where he is staying in Brasília. Lula's team denied reports that Lula would be removed from the hotel by helicopter. Brasília's public security officials said they had secured the area around Lula's hotel, and urged motorists to avoid the center of the city where many roads had been closed. The violence in Brasília came after Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes, who has led probes into Bolsonaro and his allies, on Monday ordered the temporary arrest of José Acacio Soares Avant for allegedly carrying out anti-democratic acts. Savant, an indigenous leader, is among the Bolsonaro supporters who have protested in defiance of the October 30th election result. "I cannot accept criminals reigning in Brazil," Savant tweeted last month. "Lula cannot be certified." Last week, Bolsonaro broke weeks of post-election silence to say that his situation hurts my soul. "Who decides where I go are you? Who decides which way the armed forces go are you?" Bolsonaro told his supporters at the gates of the presidential residence on Friday. In a statement, the Supreme Court said Moraes decreed the temporary arrest, for 10 days, of the indigenous José Acacio Soares Avant, due to evidence of the commission of crimes of threat, persecution and violent abolition of the democratic state of law. It said Savant had led protests across Brasília and had used his position as chief of the Savant people to enlist indigenous and non-indigenous people to commit crimes, threatening Lula and Supreme Court justices. Savant had expressly summoned armed people to prevent the certification of elected politicians, the statement added.
Russia's war on Ukraine. Latest news. Fighting rages in East. G7 considers air defense. Ukraine's allies will meet in Paris on Tuesday to provide urgent aid to help the country get through winter. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the United States would have engagement with Russia this week. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese leader Xi Jinping will hold talks to discuss the events of 2022 in late December, Russian business daily Vedomosti reported. The group of 7 economic powers said they would keep working together to bolster Ukraine's military capabilities, with an immediate focus on air defense systems, according to a latest statement released by Britain. European Union foreign ministers agreed to put another €2 billion into a fund that has been used to pay for military support for Ukraine. They will also try to agree further sanctions on Russia and Iran. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the G7, asking allies for natural gas for winter heating and long-range weapons. He also sought support for his idea of convening a special global peace summit. Ukraine's general staff said Russian artillery had hammered nearly 20 frontline settlements around the eastern city of Bakhmut, which Moscow seeks to capture but which is now largely in ruins due to incessant bombardment. At least 2 people were killed and 5 wounded in the southern Ukrainian city of Kherson after what the regional governor said was massive shelling by Russian forces. Reuters could not independently verify the reports of the attacks or deaths. Russia is turning to decades-old ammunition with high failure rates, a senior U.S. military official said. A Russian-appointed deputy governor of Ukraine's Kherson region, Vitaly Bulyuk, was injured when his car exploded, Russia's Interfax news agency reported. The head of the Norwegian Refugee Council said he expected another wave of refugees from Ukraine in Europe over the winter, because of unlivable conditions.
FTX spent $256 million on Bahamas real estate. Now the island's government wants it back. Bahamian lawyers say FTX executives Sam Bankman-Fried and Ryan Salami spent $256.3 million spent to buy and maintain 35 different properties across New Providence, Bahamas. It is the first true look behind the curtain at FTX's mammoth real estate spending. Tens of millions were spent just at the small island development that Bankman-Fried called home, with FTX's holding company buying at least 15 properties and 1 vacant lot for a combined total of over $143 million. 2 of the largest apartments at that private Albany development came in at an eye-watering $30 million, while another cost $21.3 million. Bankman-Fried and Salami, the former co-CEOs of the bankrupt crypto exchange, also invested tens of millions into their current headquarters building, sinking over $25 million into the Viridian Corporate Center. FTX broke ground on a new headquarters in April 2022, but it's been on hold since the exchange filed for bankruptcy in November. Now, Bahamian regulators are fighting to get those assets back. In a Monday night filing, the Bahamian lawyers asked a U.S. judge to dismiss the Chapter 11 proceedings for FTX's property subsidiary. Bahamian attorneys told the court that because all of the property was in the Bahamas, and because Bahamian law does not allow recognition of a foreign insolvency proceeding for a Bahamian company, that the U.S. bankruptcy proceedings should be suspended and Bahamas regulators should be allowed to assume full control of the Bahamian real estate process. The move is likely to spark pushback from FTX U.S. attorneys and CEO John Ray, who has committed to maximizing recovery for FTX clients both in the U.S. and abroad through restructuring and asset sales. U.S. and Bahamian lawyers have been tussling in court over jurisdiction, with each side crying foul at the other. FTX filed for bankruptcy protection on November 11 after reporting from CoinDesk revealed significant irregularities in sister hedge fund Alameda Research's balance sheets. An 11th-hour rescue by Binance ultimately failed, precipitating a run on the bank and a sudden liquidity crisis for an exchange that had once been heralded as the saving grace of crypto. Founder Bankman-Fried is now in Bahamian jail, facing unspecified charges by U.S. prosecutors. The indictment is due to be unsealed on Tuesday. Crisis continues to loom large over the entire crypto space. BlockFi filed for bankruptcy in November. Myriad exchanges have either frozen or paused redemptions and withdrawals. Rumors swirl about what exchange, if any, will be the next to fall, even as crypto firms release apparently audited proof of reserves in a bid to shore up investor confidence.